All right, so here we're looking like subtracting or subtracting and adding. Again, you have to have the same radicand and the index. So here we have square root of 7, square root of 7. So basically 8 minus 2, so 6 square root of 7. Now here we have cube root of 5, cube root of 5, cube root of 5. So now 7 minus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6 cube root of 5. And so that would be our answer here. All right, so we're supposed to subtract and simplify, assume all variables are positive. All right, well, can we break that down? Well, that's going to give us a 7 after we take the square of that. And then that's going to be x squared, then square root of x. And that's going to be x squared, square root of x. So 7x squared minus x squared. And then that, so let's go ahead and show what we have. And so now we have this, so we have only 6x squared, square root of x in the final answer. Now this one, we have a cube root of 7y over 64 minus the cube root of 7y over 4. Well, what are we going to do here? Well, let's take and do the cube root of 64, which gives us, guess what? A 4. And so now we have this minus this gives us a simple 0. Now, does that look like what we're going to get when we look at it this right here? No, it doesn't look like that's going to give us 0 because we have this bigger radicand here and two different ones here. It's a radicand of 7y, a cube root of it, over 4. But once you simplify the cube root of 64 down to 4, then we have the same thing. And so then we get our 0. All right, so we're supposed to subtract and simplify. Again, assume all variables are positive. All right, well, the key here is we've got the same index and radicand, but guess what? Now we have to add. Well, we have to get like terms here, or like some common denominators. So what we have to do is we have to multiply this one by 3 over 3 and this one by 5 over 5. So that's what we do here. And so 7 times 3 is 21, 3 times 5 is 15. So 21 minus 15 is going to give us the 6 over this, the 6 squared of 2 over the 15. And now it says, don't forget, simplify. So if simplify means if there's anything we can cancel, we better cancel. Well, 3 will go in here 2 times. 3 will go in here 5 times. Hence, 2 squared of 2 over 5. Okay, so a lot of people will stop at this one because, well, I'm done, but they forget they have to reduce. All right, what about this one? Well, now we have the cube root of this, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull out everything that we can know that's going to have a perfect cube root. So we know 343 will, a to the sixth will, and b to the third. So we have 1a, or yeah, 1a here, 1b here, so that's over here. Now this one, well, we can take the cube root of 27, so we pull it out here, and we still have the cube root of a and b over here. So guess what? Now those and those are going to be our same index and same radicand. Now we have to simplify what's out in front. So when we do that, that's going to give us what? Well, that's going to give us a 7, and then it's going to be a squared b, and then we have our base here. And then we have minus, and this is going to be 3 times 24. And now we have to simplify all that. So now I have a 7a squared b cubed minus 72. And the last thing we can do is we're going to factor out this here. And what's left is 7a squared b cubed minus 72. And we can leave that out here in parentheses, and that would be our answer. And then that's going to be our same index and same radicand, and that's why we added those together. Okay. All right, now we're supposed to multiply and simplify. So now we have to kind of remember, in this case, it's a FOIL. We can take and write that out in case we forgot what it is. First, outer, inner, last. So we'll take this times this, then we'll take, that was the first, then the outer is that, the inner is that, and the last is that. And multiply all those together, okay? And that's another way we can do it is we can rainbow each of them individually like that, or we can do FOIL. So if we had, a 3 and a 3, it's easier to do this rainbow method. If you only have a 2 and a 2, FOIL probably is the better method. It just depends on how you want to do it and what you're thinking. So when we do it, we have the 3 times 5, and then we have a minus 3x plus 5, minus 3 squared of x plus 5 square root of x, and then minus square root of x times the square root of x. All right, so what do we have? Well, that's going to be 15 minus 2 square root of x, and the square root of x times the square root of x is just going to be x. Okay, so that gives us 15 plus 2x minus x. Now, if you wanted to write it in a different order, that would be fine. But this would be your actual, just your final answer. So we could just stop at that point there. All right, so we're supposed to rationalize each denominator, assume all variables are positive. So rationalize in the denominator. What does that mean? Well, that means we want to get rid of radicals in the denominator. Okay, so we want to get rid of the square root of 3. We want to get rid of the square root of 3, and we want to get rid of the square root of b to the fifth. Okay, so when we do that, what are we going to do? We're going to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. Because when we take that times that, that becomes 3. So now we're going to get a square root of 3 over 3. What about this one? Well, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. And so we're going to get 7 square root of 3 over 24. Now what about this one? Well, think about this. This is really b to the fourth and then b, and we're taking the square root of that and the square root of that. This becomes b squared, square root of b. So really, all we have to do is multiply by the square root of b over square root of b. And that's what we do here. And so now what we can do is, when we do that, those multiply and give us a b cubed, and or if we want to reduce before that, what happens is that b will cancel that b, so we have a squared b over b squared. So you can multiply together and then reduce it, or you can reduce it beforehand if that's what you want to do. So again, a lot of things you can do differently depending on how your brain is working, but in all ways, you're going to get to the same final answer. All right, let's stop there and come back for some more.